Welcome to the Good Talk Podcast, where we remind you of the joy of life, the love of God, and the possibilities that lie ahead. Pete and Jordyn here.
Episode 30.
I know.
Look at us. We're in the 30s.
I like the even numbers.
I know. They're
our best episodes.
What is the title for this episode, Pete?
Should you send your ex a Mother's Day card?
Or Father's Day card.
Or Father's Day card. And like, I'll say this on the front end. You probably are already concerned about this because you saw the title. This is not just for divorced people.
No.
I'm going somewhere with this in a way that I think it applies to all of us. But I am going to answer that question.
Yeah, you are. We picked a playful title to be fun, but it is more applicable than just if you are not divorced. So
yeah. How's life? How's pregnancy?
Good. We good. It was this is my first, speaking of Mother's Day, this is my first fake Mother's Day. I can't actually
It's not fake. You have
Mother's Day yet.
You are a mom. You have a life inside of you.
Yeah, I agree, but I haven't done the hard work yet. I've just
Did you like your Mother's Day gift from me?
Yes, you got me it's called a bump box, and it's like a subscription thing. We just did the third trimester box, but is it just by the trimester they send
By the trimester, I think. Go to bumpboxes.com. We are not sponsored.
No ad.
No ad at all. But the box is sitting there, so I saw it. That's how I knew that website.
Anyway, it was it was full of stuff that you want/need in your third trimester, like a massager and like eye cream and stuff.
But seriously, if your wife just got pregnant, you should get that because each trimester you get a box and there's cool little gifts.
Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah.
It was really cute. But so for Mother's Day, we saw your mom the week before Mother's Day because I was going to be out of town.
Yep. We took her out the last
week.
Yep.
Yeah. Or the week before Mother's Day. And then I drove down to Georgia to see my mom. And me and my cousins, and my brother, we all did like a little brunch. So we made breakfast for our moms. I, being 29 weeks pregnant, decided I would just cater my part. I went to Cracker Barrel of all places.
Shortcut.
I went to Cracker Barrel. I ordered like a ton of biscuits and gravy and picked it up, and it was late.
Was this for you or for your mom?
Let's not talk about that. But anyway, I picked it up. I was running late because they were late. Anyway, I was just stressed. I get my biscuits home, open it. We're feeding 12 people, by the way.
It's a lot.
I get my biscuits home. I open it. They gave me half my order, and I broke down in tears. I have yet to have the pregnant emotions that I've always expected / heard.
You've a few times.
Yeah, maybe so. But I just started sobbing, and my mom's in the kitchen and my dad's there, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong with you?" Because I'm never that emotional especially over something like that. So I had an emotional Mother's Day, but
your mom had a blast, right?
She had a good time. Yeah, it was fun. We got to celebrate all the moms and the grandmas and all of that. But my emotions, it's carried over into this week. I don't know if you've noticed.
A little
bit. It must just be like
like yesterday on our walk when you bit my head off.
Okay, well, so yeah, I don't know. It's just ladies back me up. I cannot control it. I don't know what's happening. I cannot reason it away besides that it's just got to be hormones because it's so not me. But we were on a walk and I looked down at your he's got a Fitbit and it stopped working before Christmas. Stop
not
it.
An ad. Stop. But put in code Pete Wilson for 20% off.
Stop.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Anyways, so you had this Fitbit. It stopped working before Christmas. And you're like, I need a new one. So I got you a new one.
I love tracking my steps. I love it.
Yeah. You track your steps, your sleep, everything. So I was like, okay, you picked one out very specifically.
I did.
That I ended up getting for Christmas for you.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And you never wear it.
I wore it for about 6 weeks.
Because this old one started working again.
All of a sudden, out of the blue.
Long story short, you guys are probably dropping off of this podcast by now. But we're on our walk and I looked down and I was just irritated. I felt like he was in a mood. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to add to this for some reason.
I wasn't in a mood.
I think you were. But anyway, so I looked down at his wrist and I was like, really glad that I got you that new Fitbit watch.
And then you tried to, but here's the thing. The thing is that then she argued, I'm like, I'm sorry, the newer one that you got me,
He said it was worse.
It's not worse, but
You called it generic.
It's a lesser model. It's like this might be like the XR and that's like the B. Like, it doesn't have a face to it. You know, you can't see your stats on it, which is fine. That's what I asked for, right?
He peeved me even more by like dissing this gift that I got.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying, hey, I'm wearing this one because it's actually nicer, which is also a Christmas gift for you. So I can't win either way.
Before. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I literally, all my rage came out on the walk, and I was like, the watch that I got you is sitting in the drawer somewhere. Like, so dumb. But that is how I felt. So anyways, I am high on emotions this week and probably through delivery. So good luck.
There's a solid chance she may cry, scream, throw a mic, do something in this pocket for no other reason.
Maybe.
Just for the next 15 minutes, listen, because you just don't know what might happen.
Come out of my mouth.
Do you feel it coming on, or does it just out of nowhere just hit you?
I feel it coming on, but I don't have the reasoning to say this is hormones.
Okay.
Until after.
Follow-up question. Because I understand that a little bit, even as a man, because I've been in an argument before, and then like halfway through it, you realize you're like, this isn't worth it, or I'm not right, but you're so invested, you just keep arguing, right? Well, is there a moment that it clicks with you?
But then if you remember this moment yesterday when you asked me to explain, and I said, I need a second. And then I literally took 30 minutes of our exercise. About 40 minutes of our exercise. And I just thought, because if I kept going, I would have said things I didn't want to say.
Were you proud of me for not pushing?
No, because you pushed a few times until
No, I didn't. All I did was try to create small talk. Like, look at that pretty tree.
I know, it was so dumb.
Check out that squirrel.
He's like, weird, look at the construction
That's
over
how
there.
I was
I
trying
don't
to
care
testing.
about construction.
That's how I was testing. You didn't respond to those.
Anyways, people don't care about this.
I think they do. I think they do care about this.
I think we should stop reading Jordyn and talk about our teaching today.
Okay. Should you send your ex a Mother's Day card? Can I tell you how this happened?
Sure.
Came up?
This has a broader application, like we said.
Yeah, and for us, Mother's Day was just a couple days ago at the time of this recording. So it's kind of fresh in my mind. But I went to get a Mother's Day card, right? Mm-hmm. I was getting one from my mom. I was getting one for you.
Yep.
And I'm kind of going through the aisle, and everyone knows this, but they have these, from my section. So it's Mother's Day section, but it's like from, my daughter, from son, from grandmother, from your dog. Like literally there's so many categories these days, right? And I just thought, well, it's interesting. Like they don't have a from your ex here, right? Now I have since then heard that there might be some out there. You're not going to find them like in a department store
but you
or
can
Kroger.
Get them online.
Yeah, I guess you can get it online. But I just thought that's interesting that they don't have a from my ex category. And I started to think, well, why would they not have that? When you think about the stats and a number of people in divorce, we're talking about millions of people, right? And then I thought, well, it has to be. I mean, they're obviously interested in making money. Kroger wants to make money. Hallmark wants to make money. It's because there's not a perceived market for you. There's not enough people who would buy. There's not enough exes out there who are going to buy a card for their ex for them to make these cards, because clearly if they can make money doing it, they would, right?
Yes. So in short, there aren't people who are encouraging their exes in any way.
At least with a card.
Right.
So it just got me thinking about this topic, and I had this conversation with a couple other friends. But the whole idea is, and I may be off base here. I'm open to that. I'm sure I'll get some emails on this one. Yep. I may be off base, but I think that it's important, even if you've been to a divorce, to find an appropriate way to celebrate your ex on Mother's Day and or Father's Day.
Yep.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay, that's good. And can I say why I believe that?
Yes.
I believe that because you may get divorced as a husband and a wife, but if you have kids, you're not divorced as parents.
Right.
You're not, right? Divorced parents are still mom and dad. And especially if nothing changes that.
Yeah, especially if you're co-parenting. And I understand, I feel like we always have to preface these things with, yes, there are those circumstances where you absolutely may not have another spouse in the picture who's helping you parent. But in the cases that you're co-parenting and you're kind of like coexisting amongst your kids, this is kind of what we're talking about. We're not talking about unhealthy, toxic relationships.
Well, but even in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, the fact still remains that you get divorced as a husband and wife, but you're not divorced as parents. Now, that doesn't mean that one of the the mom or the dad may not be involved at all, but still that reality that
Sure,
you're
that
not
you're
divorced
both a parent
is there
in general. Yeah.
And so I think I kind of just broke this down. There are two reasons for me, two really important reasons why I think it's important for me to encourage my ex on Mother's Day. And so here they are. The first one is this. I think it builds trust and cooperation. In many cases, I would actually say in most cases, divorce involves a breakdown in trust between two parties. Co-parenting with someone with whom you don't have a trusting relationship ranges from difficult to impossible. It just does, right? In any relationship, I think one of the most important skills that two people can work on to build trust and to build cooperation is just acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Just acknowledgement. And how many times have all of us, again, whether you've been through a divorce or not, you've sat around a group of people where some divorced parent is complaining about the other parent.
Oh, yeah.
And, parenting together, like, can we all agree? Parenting together is really difficult. Parenting when you've been through a divorce, again, it's a whole another level, right, of misunderstandings that can happen. And so, again, I go back to how often do you hear divorced parents praise each other's efforts? You just don't hear it a lot.
Few, yeah.
And how different, right, would conversations be between exes if they begin by just the acknowledgement of what the other parent is doing well?
Yeah.
Instead of starting off with what's wrong.
Right.
And again, often what you'll hear, just listen, what you'll hear in circles is the one, the ex running down the dad, the ex running down the mom, and how different would their relationship be with each other and maybe even with other people if they started with what the other one's doing right in the relationship instead of what they're doing wrong.
So good.
So here's the relationship tip, and I think this is true of all relationships, friendships, exes, marriages, you name it. When you acknowledge someone else's strengths, they're more likely to understand when you have disagreements because they can trust that you see both the good and the bad.
Right. That makes sense. So
Right.
if you're able to acknowledge their strengths and the good in them, when you bring something up that is of concern, they're more likely to have an even ear for you.
Yep. When you acknowledge someone else's strengths, they're more likely to be understanding when you have disagreements.
Yeah.
And that's because they can trust that you see both the good and the bad. If again, whether it's an ex, whether it's anybody that I'm in a relationship with, if I perceive that they can't see both good and bad in people, then I don't have a trust with them. Like, even if it's not coming towards me, right?
Yeah.
If I see somebody and I'm watching them talk about another individual and all they can talk about is how
Negative.
bad their boss is, how bad their ex is, how bad their old friend is, then I'm like, I don't trust that person.
Yeah.
Because they clearly do not have the ability to see both good and bad. In any relationship, it's going to have misunderstandings along the way. And if you can't see both the good and the bad in someone, it would be hard for me to be in a healthy relationship with somebody like that.
Yeah. We have a really good friend. His name is Matthew, and we watch him on socials, and he has split from his wife, and they have kids, and they're beautiful kids, and they have a great relationship, and they're co-parenting. And he, on social media, even, this is not just like to us privately, publicly, he affirms his ex-wife about what a great person she is, what a great mom she is.
When she has success with something,
Yeah, he posts about it. It's just,
he's been a great model for me.
It's been really cool to watch. And so he's like one of the first one that comes to mind because it's not just health for him. It's not just health for his kids. It's also a really great model for people around him to see this can be done.
Absolutely.
It's just such a breath of fresh air. And I don't think he realizes what that does to people around him. So I think you're right. It's not just between you and your ex, but it's the relationships around you.
Yeah. And I just think that, again, if you're divorced and you don't have a good relationship with your ex, I'm not suggesting that just because you send them a Mother's Day or Father's Day card, that instantly all of a sudden your communication is going to be easy and co-parenting is going to go from difficult to just, natural. I'm not saying that, but it does have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And probably if you're not doing it on Mother's Day or Father's Day, you're not doing it at any other point. And if all you can see is the bad in the other person, your ability to work with that person again, in any situation, whether this is divorced people or a work situation, it's going to deteriorate quickly.
Yeah. And I guess, real talk. It's hard. It's hard to do that. It's hard to be like the encourager. And I think most people don't do it because they don't want to validate anything about that person, because
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form, if they validate that person in a small task, then somehow they validated something they disagree with,
Sure.
ultimately. And that's just so tiny and granular in the big scheme of things. So I get how hard that can be, and how it's hard, especially when the divorce was not like a mutual thing that both parties really wanted. But it really, if you can detach it from, this does not mean I'm saying that, I agree with everything and beyond, but the encouragement, I feel like it would just be such a load off in your heart. Do you not, like, when
Big
you,
time.
because I know you do this, you encourage your ex-wife a lot in email and saying thank you, and you do such a good job here, and you're a great mom here. You don't just do that on Mother's Day. You do that actively throughout the year. And I feel like it would be good to receive that, obviously. But for you, I feel like that's just got to be kind of a load off of your soul to be able to do that.
Sure.
I mean, maybe. I don't have
Yeah, sure. And it just seems natural to me. Like, again, you got to be able to see the good and the bad. And when you see the good, pointing out the good is going to lead to healthier things in that relationship. So that's the first reason I do it. I do it, because I think that it can really help that relationship and co-parenting. The second reason I do it, though, has nothing to do with her. I guess it kind of does, but it has a whole lot more to do with my boys.
Right.
And that is, I think my boys need to know that I support their mom. I think
Yeah.
it's really important for them to know. Being divorced, I don't think, relieves you of the responsibility to teach your children the importance of respecting and celebrating their mom or their dad. And for my boys to be healthy, to be the healthiest version of themselves, I need them to have a good relationship with their mom.
Absolutely.
In the same way, I need them to have a good relationship with me, right?
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying they couldn't be healthy without that. They could, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for them. What I know is for them to be the healthiest versions of themselves, having their mom involved in their relationship is key.
Yeah.
And so I want to encourage that. I think that's really important. And so, and they need to know that I support that and I encourage that for them. So like on Mother's Day morning, I had all the boys, right? And on Mother's Day morning, before they left at different times. I looked every one of them right in the eye, and I just said two things. Number one, be really good to your mom today, right? And they know what that means. Be really good to your mom today. You make her the queen for the day. You take good care of her, say sweet things, do sweet things. And then number two, and this is going to change based on their age, right? Yeah. As they've gotten older, I don't have to worry about this as much. But hey, do you got money to get a card and some flowers, right? If you don't, I got you.
And you've done that every year.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because they need to know
That you support.
that I support that and I'm expecting that. And I think this is really important. I'm going to say something that I know is going to be very controversial, and some of you are going to take this and twist this and manipulate this. I don't know if I've ever said this publicly. I've said it in a lot of private conversations, but divorce hurts kids, but it doesn't have to harm them.
Doesn't have to harm them.
Correct. It's always going to hurt kids, I think. I don't care how healthy of a divorce it is. I don't care all the reasons for the divorce. It's always going to hurt them because mom and dad aren't in the same place at the same time. Yeah. All right. So divorce is going to hurt kids. It doesn't have to harm them. What harms them is emotionally immature adults, whether they're married or not, by the way.
True.
Right?
True.
So it doesn't have to hurt them, or it's going to hurt them, but it doesn't have to harm them. The harm comes from emotionally immature adults who often use the kids to manipulate them to make themselves feel better about lots of different things. Yeah. So there's tons of research out there about how harmful it is to a kid when one parent tears down the other parent in front of the kid, or when one parent manipulates the kids to try to get them to love them more than the father or the mother, right? Tons of research out there. In fact, if I bet this is true nationally. I know it's true in the state of Tennessee. If you go through a divorce, you have to go to a parenting class. It's part of it, right? It's on video. It's terrible. It needs to be redone. It's really, really bad. But one of the things that they covered, this is for everybody. It doesn't matter what your faith is. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. If you've been married, you're going through divorce, and you have kids, one of the things they're going to say in that parenting class is whatever you do, do not do anything to discourage, harm the relationship between your kids and your ex. Don't talk about them. This is in most divorce agreements and all this stuff. There's tons, so we all get that. But here's my issue with all this. Not speaking poorly of your ex in front of your kids should be your bare minimum responsibility, right? No pats on the back for doing that. Like everybody agrees you're going to screw your kids up if you're running your ex down in front of your kids, and you're going to screw your kids up if you're trying to manipulate your kids to get them to love you more than your ex, right? Everybody. So that is not speaking negative about your ex in front of your kids should be the bare minimum. It's not the goal.
Right.
The goal should be getting to a place where you can speak kindly of them in front of your kids. The goal is to get to a place where you can celebrate their mom or celebrate their dad. The goal should be encouraging your kids to respect your ex-wife, your ex-husband as their mom or as their dad. I think that's so important. Yeah. And I know where everybody's going to go with this. Everyone wants to think that their situation is completely unique and different. We've already kind of gave that on the front end, like, that caveat. But before you go to your, but what about this? But they did this, but they said that, but they've never called me or sent me a card on Father's Day or Mother's Day. Before you go to whatever it is that you want to say next, I would just say, I think you might be missing the point. I mean, go ahead. You can send me your story. Go ahead. You can call me. We can trade war stories. I got plenty of them. Okay. But I think you're missing the point here. You're approaching this from a victim mindset, and you're not going to win in any area in your life with the victim mindset. And furthermore, you're probably going to do some serious damage to your kids.
Yeah. Amen.
Just the bottom line. And so I just think that to answer the question, yes, I think you should get your ex a Mother's Day card or send them an email, encouraging them and pointing out what you believe that they're doing so great with your kids. And do it for no other reason than it's probably the right thing to do. But I think there's some huge benefits in the future investment of that relationship, and also the benefits it's going to have on your kids. Oh my gosh, it's going to be massive.
It's worth not being selfish in that moment.
It is. And again, I know it's not easy, right? I feel like I can sit here with complete integrity and character and say, I know it's not easy. I know it goes against conventional wisdom in some ways.
Or just your nature in general. Yeah.
But man, I think it makes a huge difference. And I've never regretted saying those kind, encouraging notes, not one single time.
That's
There's
such a good point.
Other stuff I've regretted.
Sure.
But not that.
Yeah, that's such a good point. You're never going to regret being kind. That's such a awesome mantra to live by. And I think that's what the ultimate, like what we're trying to echo here in general. You may not have an ex with kids. You may not have an ex. But it's just that echo of kindness and understanding that, like our episode a couple weeks ago, there are two sides to everything, and just being kind and just acknowledging the goodness in people when you see it, even if you don't have a great relationship. I think it's just lightens such a load in your soul. Yeah.
We live in a culture where everything is polarized.
Yeah.
And that leads to that's good, that's bad. And then that's all you can see in that person, that subject, that whatever. And rarely does that lead to anything good.
That's good. That was a good conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, if I know this is kind of a specific conversation, a specific topic. So if you know somebody who might be kind of in that exact situation, please share that with them. That would be amazing. Also, if you rate or review on iTunes specifically, iTunes kind of has a rating system that other platforms don't have. So if you do that and you give us a review, please take a picture of it and send it to us at our email. It is info@theplaceforgood.com, info@theplaceforgood.com, and send us a picture of your review, and we will shoot you a 30 Days of Good journal It's truly like a day by day for 30 days inspiration, place for you to answer some prompts and then to start your gratitude journey.
I love the 30 days of good.
I know we've had a really great response to it too. People have sent us pictures of them doing it in the morning and kind of making it a part of their day. So it's completely free. It's an ebook. So we'll send it to you via email if you do send us that review just as a thank you. So yeah.
It's awesome. Well, thanks for catching us all up on all the fun Mother's Day stuff going on in your life. And next year's going to be crazy.
I know. We'll have a little nugget. We'll bring her on here on Mother's Day next year.
Yeah. And soon we'll have name updates, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
Getting close.
I'm
78 days away.
Yep.
But who's counting?
Yeah, right. Sure.
All right. Hey, thank you guys so much for listening as always. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May he smile on you and be gracious to you. May he show you his favor and give you his peace.